Hi, it's Melissa. Welcome to my studio. Today we're talking about how to get unstuck and solve a few problems while you're practicing at home on your own. This is the first in a series of short videos about how to get unstuck during your practice time at home. So today I'm showing you a strategy about note identification and how to find those notes to make sure you're playing correct notes at home in your piece. This is the number one problem that I see with students here in the studio is often they start a piece and they just don't know where their hands are supposed to be at first, or they have trouble looking up different notes that they find in their piece, and so they're not quite sure what to play, even though it doesn't sound correct to their ears. So today we're going to talk about just a couple of quick strategies for you to help solve those problems at home. So I have a piece in front of me that is a new piece that my teacher has asked me to practice, and I'm going to run through just a little bit and assume that I know what I'm doing here and that everything is, as we've talked about, that it's in the same position that we've always worked in, and I'm going to try and play it like this. Sounds pretty good so far. I'm going to keep playing through the song and I'm going to get to a spot and it's not sounding right. Something's not quite right and I can hear it. Something's a little bit off. So the first thing that I want you to do to solve that problem is pick up a pencil. And take a look at, in fact, what are your starting notes in this particular piece? Is it really where you think it is? And are you really playing the notes that are on the page? That's a very important question to ask yourself at first. So let's take a look. I'm going to look at my very first notes and say, these really aren't the notes that I thought they were, and I'm not sure what these notes are. And I can take a look at one of them and say, well, I know one of them, and I know that my one on my left hand goes on C, so that's where my left hand is, but I can look at the right hand and say, wow, I don't really know where the notes are at all or what they are. So what can you do to solve that problem if you really have no idea what the notes are? Chances are, if it's a lesson book piece in your lesson book, you can look back a couple of pages in your lesson book and ta-da, right there, it shows you that we maybe talked about briefly in your lesson a new position for where to put your hands and new notes for you to learn as you play them during the course of the week. So look back a couple of pages in your lesson book, compare the notes that are in your song to the notes that are in the chart in your lesson book, and then use the pencil to actually write in those starting notes and maybe even a few finger numbers to get you started. So if I do that, then I'm going to find that I can play right here, and it's sounding much better. That's the correct place. Well, something must still be wrong. I'm not sure what it is, but problem number two that we come across is not only are we talking about finding notes and where our hands start a song, but we may have something else called sharps or flats in our song, or in this case, we have a key signature to look at that involves sharps and flats. So again, I have to pick up the pencil and I have to take a look at the very beginning of the song. And if I look at the very beginning of the song, in this case, I do have a key signature that tells me that I'm playing in the key of F major. And if you know your F major scale, I want a sheet of paper. You know that in the key of F, we have a B flat. So again, if I go back in my lesson book will also show me that a couple pages back, it shows me that I do have B flats in that new F major position. So then I need to make sure that I go through and circle all of the notes that should be flat. Or if you don't have a key signature, but you know that there are still some notes that are wrong, double check, does the note have a sharp symbol in front of it? Does it have a flat symbol in front of it? Is there something that you're missing there? So now when I play it, it sounds like... much better. So now I'm on the right track because I have identified the starting notes in my piece. I've probably also looked through the song and identified some other problem notes that I don't know and written those in along with a few finger numbers. And I've checked for sharps and flats to make sure I'm playing the correct notes. Now let's say you still have a problem, it still sounds kind of off or kind of wrong, and you don't know, you're still stuck, you still can't solve that problem. It's okay to take a pencil and just circle or mark that spot in your piece, put a question mark by it, and you know, bring it to your lesson and I will help you figure out what those notes are or how to play them. The other idea that you can do if you are so inclined to be creative is if you're really not sure and you have one little trouble spot and you just can't figure it out, but you don't just want to leave it for your lesson, find a note that does work. Even if you're not sure if it's the right note, you can always use those good ears that God gave you to figure out a note that will work. Trial and error will help you with this. And it's okay to improvise a little bit on your lesson pieces and find something that works temporarily so that you have a pleasing sound to listen to and that you're motivated to practice and continue working on that song until I do see you at your next lesson. So the number one tip, look up those note names. If you also have the Joya First Year Piano book at home, most of you do. It usually has a blue cover. Mine is old. It has a yellow cover. You'll see a note chart on page 10 that will also be a great tool for you to look up all the different notes on the staff, and it shows you where they are on the keyboard relative to middle C. So that's a great tool for you to use. Also, some of my students, you have been given handouts during lessons that help you identify using mnemonics, like Every Good Boy Does Fine on the staff, the line notes in the treble clef or the bass clef. So use the tools and the resources that I've given you to help you solve the problems. You really can do it, and I know that if you try and put a little effort into it, you can get unstuck all by yourself at home, especially with note identification. So that's it for today. Good luck. I'll see you at your next lesson.